Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we have another video on one of my real clients. This is Anna. I had the pleasure of doing her makeup for her wedding ceremony. So to get started, I was just doing skin prep. She has dry skin, so I used moisturizer, rose hydrating spray, and then I began applying the foundation with that like kind of painter's brush. From there, I used a buffing foundation brush to blend everything out on the complexion, and then I find it really helpful for dry skin clients to go over the foundation one more time with a damp sponge. This absorbs excess product and it really prevents creasing and any fine lines. Here I'm applying eyeshadow primer, which is a must for making shades last and not crease and look vibrant. I first use a fluffy brush for a crease color. Then I have a more dense but still fluffy brush that I'm applying on the more of the lash line area to build up that same color. I always go back in with the fluffy brush to blend even more. And now I'm taking a liner brush and applying even more dark pigment to the lash line and tilting my brush to kind of lift it up a little and give it a bit of a wing. Go back in with the fluffy brush again. And here is like a mid-tone kind of skin tone shimmery shade. I put that on her lid and just up to those crease shades that I applied. Another round for fluffy brush to make sure there are no harsh lines anywhere. And then I'm using an even more dense brush here to build up that outer like V area. Here I'm using a makeup wipe to clean up that shape and take away any of the eyeshadow fallout. And then because she has dry skin, I go back over it with moisturizer because it's really important to moisturize and prime the skin underneath makeup, especially for dry skin people. And then here I'm applying concealer, just tapping it in under her eyes, again kind of cleaning up the shape on the outer corner to make sure it's not pulling her eyes down at all. Here you can see I'm like lifting it up just a tad, like toward her eyebrow. And then again, it's really important to kind of absorb excess product and kind of blend it in with that hydrated sponge. And then I'm using powder right here, but you can see I'm tapping out the concealer and any of the fine lines that may have collected before I set it, so I'm not setting excess product there. And then still powdering her entire face, even though she has dry skin. That's why skin prep is so important, but obviously powder is great for making makeup last all night long. This is my tried and true Benefit Hoola bronzer. It works on so many different skin tones, and you can see it's just a beautifully natural bronzer shade on her. It's like not too warm, not too cool. And make sure to put it on her jawline as well. Here I'm using a powder highlight in all of the highlighting areas, including her nose and her cupid's bow. I would only really do this for dry skin clients. I don't do it much on people with oily skin. And then here I'm just applying some blush. This may look like a lot, but in photos it translates well and does not look like it's that much blush at all. And then to make it look more natural, I always put some on the forehead and the nose. I'm applying some of that mid-tone shade from the lid on her lower lash line just to complete the eye look. And then I just used a powder eyebrow product. I start on like the second half of the brow and then work my way to the tail. And then I finish on the inner part, and that definitely gives a more natural look. I know what you think so far.
Ooh, so nice.
All right, finishing up with her lips. This is Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lip liner. Her skin tone is perfect for this shade. I'm also filling her lips in all the way because this has really good staying power. And then here I'm taking the Pillow Talk lipstick, applying that on top for a more creamy finish. And then she's applying a thin layer of mascara herself. Here I'm applying individual lashes. I did 2 on the outer corner. She ended up not doing this on the day of her wedding. It just wasn't natural enough for her. And she was more comfortable with just mascara, so that's what we did on the day. But here you can see I'm adding more mascara after applying the falsies to blend them a bit more, having her kind of blink into the mascara brush. And then the finishing touch, the inner corner highlight. This grabs the light beautifully in photos, makes the eyes look way more awake. And then a ton of setting spray, so it lasts all day. Here are some after photos, and then on her wedding day, this is what the makeup looked like. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!